Okay. Okay. So I'm here with Christopher Kouros. We've known each other for 4 years?
Yeah,
Three,
I
four?
would say.
We both live in Brooklyn. We went to Cinnamon Prep together. Among other things, Chris is an actor, performer, a singer, and a hockey fanatic. So, an interview cannot be conducted without bringing up hockey. So, tell me a little bit of where you gained the love for the sport.
I'd like to say birth. My grandfather was a huge New York Rangers fan. Then that trickled down to my uncle, who really is my biggest hockey person in the family. He's more like my big brother, really. Then after my grandfather, he unfortunately passed away in the summer of 2021, and that was right before I came into high school. So I decided that to honor him, I would try to learn more about the sport, and then I fell in love with it, where it's at the point where my uncle has been following hockey for all 39 years of his life, but he'll ask me, who was the captain of the Pittsburgh Pirates defunct NHL team, by the way, in 1930, where I'll know the answer.
Right. All right. So, along those lines, so tell me a little bit about your hockey high school career, and tell me give me a little background on that.
So I had wanted to play hockey going into the summer of freshman year, and initially I had decided it's not for me. I haven't skated in so long. Then sophomore year passes, and that summer I decide I want to play hockey. My friend Jaden Cavallo, he goes to CHRIS KOUROS. He's also Giovanni's friend. He was the goalie for our hockey team, and he had just graduated. And I realized, okay, well, this is something I want to do in my life. I love this sport so much. Why not give it a try? And I decided that I was going to be a player. I'm a goalie, but this is when I decided I was going to be a player. And I did these clinics. And there's something you have to do called a crossover. You're putting one leg over the other while you're skating. And I couldn't do it. And I kept hitting the floor and hitting the floor and hitting the floor. And I was changing that night, and I was looking at my knees. I was like, they're so bruised because I kept hitting the ice. And I was like, if I'm going to hurt my knees, all my favorite players have been goalies. Why don't I just be a goalie? They need a goalie anyway. And junior year of high school, at 16 years old, keep in mind, hockey is a sport where people play from the age of 3.
Mm-hmm.
My brother, who is 9, is considered late to the sport because he started playing 2 years ago.
Wow.
So junior year, I decided to play the hardest position in hockey, where at the end of the day, all of the blame is on you because you have one job. And St. Edmund Prep Hockey, I will say, had 7 people, including me. We had one person on the bench at any given time. There were times when the other teams had more goalies than we did players.
Wow.
On the bench, that is. Yeah.
All right, so right off of that, tell me how hockey's going in college. Maybe how it's different from, because I know you haven't really done too much because it's only really been 2 months. But how is it different from your high school experience?
Already, I will say, the most glaring difference is that Hofstra University has won a hockey game. Actually, technically, our record is 3-0 on the official ACHA website, which that's pretty cool. I will say, I'm not the best goalie. As we could tell by the inference that St. Edmund Prep has never won a hockey game. With me involved, it's true. We've tied twice. But I have been defaulted to the practice goalie, and now I have injured my knee and have become the everything else guy. I lead the team prayer before every game. Our coaching staff is a lot different. I will say, it's real. It's real college hockey. Our coaching staff has Keith Kincaid on it, which any hockey fan that hears that is going, oh, uh-oh. Keith Kincaid was an NHL goaltender. He played for the Canadians. He played for the Bruins, I'd like to say. I want to say I don't think so. His main team was the New Jersey Devils, but he was a Ranger for some time, and that's how I like him.
Right.
He is a very, very interesting personality. He's a lot of fun. Our main head coach is Jim Duggan. He is a great guy, real stand-up guy. We've got a whole killer coaching staff. The locker room is a lot of fun. We're co-ed, just like St. Edmunds, but we actually have a girl on the team. Shout out to Grace. She's a grad student who played D1 hockey in Minnesota, where she's from. So she's insane at the sport. She's going to be a doctor. So yeah, shout out Grace. Thank you for driving me to practice. Shout out Royce. Thank you for driving me to practice. And shout out my roommate Aiden for also being on the team and driving me to practice.
All right. So I mean, even though you're a practice goalie, like we're always on the up and up, right? So,
yeah.
Next, so we went to high school together, obviously. Explain a little bit about how the St. Edmund prep experience was in a general sense, and how it's different now that you're in Hofstra. And this isn't related to hockey specifically. This is generally.
Yeah. Hofstra seems to be an inversion of St. Edmunds, whereas I found my closest family in the theater and the performing groups of St. Edmunds. I find the most disdain for people in the performing groups in Hofstra University. It feels... I'm not at all in any way trying to bash it, because this is real world now. You're in the business. It's going to be cutthroat. It's going to be competitive. It's going to be cliquey. So I, for one, don't mind it, because if that's what I want to do in life, you're going to have to learn to deal with clickiness and all of that. But it's just so weird going from everyone but the theater kids are cliquey to everyone but the theater kids aren't cliquey.
Right. Yeah, that's such a strange dynamic. I wonder, so in terms of, like, location, how different is Hofstra, even though you aren't too far away? Because I'm assuming the transition from high school to college, in a general structural sense, is insanely different.
It's weird living... I say by myself, I do have a roommate and a suite mate, but it's weird living by yourself, where, like, I don't have to tell anyone at the door, I'm going out to the store. I could just go to the store. And I think that's so weird that, like, I'm right by a bus stop. I could just get on the bus and go to Roosevelt Fields, or the school shuttles you to, like, Target. I could go watch a movie in the movie theater and just not have to clear it with anyone or not have to talk to anyone about it.
Right. I mean, I'm sure you appreciate the freedom, though.
Yeah. It's fun. But I will say I do miss Brooklyn, because there's just... I miss the park by my house, and I miss my family, obviously. But there's not really... If I wanted to go by myself, to be by myself off campus, there's not much room for that. Whereas if I was having a rough day, I would just walk to the park in Brooklyn, and I would go sit on a bench. And Sure, that's not alone. There's people, but it's not people I have a 9 a.m. class with that are going to, like, try to talk to me.
Right. I guess when you're home, it's more of a familial, intimate relationship, even though you're not with your direct family. So you brought up theater a little bit before, and we're going to get into that. But getting into the performing arts scene, you performed at every musical concert we had in our high school, and you emceed most of them. So tell us a little bit of how that went, and maybe how it prepared you for, like, future endeavors.
Yeah, where there was a stage in St. Edmund Prep, there was CHRIS KOUROS not too far from it. I did a lot, and I'm doing a lot. While I complained about it while I was doing it, has helped me so much in the way that when I'm working on a project here at Hofstra, I'm able to know some more things than my peers in the regards of, like, oh, well, how do you wrap a wire? Where do you go here? What does this go into? And I think it also has to do with my father maybe running an audiovisual company and owning an audiovisual company and being around that my entire life. However, even singing wise, I was able to coach some of my friends preparing for auditions because of the music director at St. Edmund Prep, Mr. Joseph Gucciardi, who, while Giovanni, my wonderful interview leader, may have heard many a complaint about Mr. Gucciardi, and I'm sure he's heard many a complaint from his roommate, our friend Mr. Edward Kwok, who played piano with me for my entire St. Evan career. Quacker and Churros over here. That was his nicknames for us, Mr. Gucciardi. Everyone had a nickname. I will say, I do miss him. I miss having that structure of I'm singing every day, I'm training every day, and I'm getting better every day, where I'm a sports media major. I'm working on lights and cameras and directing. I haven't sung in so long. I have not actually gotten out there and performed. And it is eating away at me a little bit, which is why I've taken to posting videos of myself singing on TikTok. But at the end of the day, that's not a crowd. You don't get that feeling anymore. And I think that's the most difficult transition in high school to college of not only do I have to go out and make my opportunities, but I have to find the opportunity to make it.
Right. All right. Yeah. I mean, and we're obviously gonna get more into performing arts in a little bit, but I want to take a slight detour to a little bit more about life at St. Edmunds, and I want to ask about, because we did a lot of volunteer work at our time there. Our school had a pretty robust campus ministry program, and it was a Catholic school. So, what were some of your favorite outings? Because I know there's the street corner, there was the Emmaus retreats. So let me know a little bit about how maybe that kind of helped you in your journey, and how it kind of built up your faith or character.
I have to say my favorite outings were the midnight runs, because you got to go out. For those, do you want me to explain what a midnight run is?
Yeah,
for those
go
who
ahead.
don't know it. Okay. So for those who don't know, at least the St. Edmund version is, you would meet after school after a long sign-up list that people would flock like animals, which is so beautiful to think about, because they're flocking and fighting over going out to help people.
Yeah.
And as much as we all dog on the people of St. Edmund Prep, they're helpful to strangers, and that speaks better than anything else you could imagine. But you would go, and then after school you would make sandwiches, and then you would take a bus out to Manhattan, and you would go to a bunch of different locations in Manhattan, and you would give people in need clothes and sandwiches and just company. It's nice to hear people's stories. And I'll never forget, there was one man that had long hair, and he was looking for a hat. I was in charge of the hat booth, because anyone that knows me knows I'm always in a hat. I'll never not be in a hat or a sports jersey. And I saw myself in this guy, and it was such a weird experience looking at this guy with long hair and realizing, like, this could be me. Like, there's no barrier, and people pretend that there's this invisible barrier between those in need, like the homeless, and us. Like, just because they go to sleep without a roof over their head doesn't mean they don't go to sleep. And it was beautiful to connect with him, because he asked me, are the Rangers playing tonight? Are the Mets playing? And he was speaking my language. He's like, I have been looking for a Mets hat for the longest time. And together we sifted through the bin, and we found him a Mets hat, and we found him a bunch of shampoo and conditioner, and he was so grateful. And just to have that experience where someone is so grateful, not for your actions, but for you as a person, that fills my heart with such an indescribable joy. And I don't think I'll ever be able to replicate that.
Yeah, no, I can totally see that. You can continue.
Other stuff we have done at St. Edmunds was the Street Corner Gourmet, where we as a school will stay after school. We get a half day, and we all stay, and we all make stuffing and cards for those in need, and they get shipped out on the next breakfast one, which is like a midnight run, but in the morning. And my favorite memory from the Street Corner Gourmet has to be the last one, senior year, where the people that run the social media came up to me and said, Chris, we know you, you know you. We're putting you in charge of the social media today. And I think that really fostered my want to go into the sports media profession, because Giovanni knows he was there for the entire time virtually.
I was there.
He was there for the entire time, but working the social media with me as I went around and interviewed people, and I believe I put on a turkey gobble contest. We had some outtakes that may still be on my phone. Sorry, Mr. Heap.
We do.
Sorry, Eddie. But it was so nice realizing that I'm helping people and I'm making people laugh. And that, I think, is my ultimate goal in life. So without St. Edmund Prep's campus ministry office, I would not be the man I am today.
Totally. And right now, like on the idea of making people laugh, we're getting to the inevitable part of the interview, which is the theater program. So we went through a few years of theater together. You started 1.5 years before me. So just to start off, give us a little overview about each of the 4 shows that we did and just some of your characters.
So freshman year, I came in, and this is when Mr. O'Donnell, shout out Mr. O'Donnell, was the head director, and Miss Althea Sullivan was the assistant director. Keep that name in mind. And this was Miss Sullivan's first year in theater, and it was my first year in theater. So we bonded. She really is like my big sister, so shout out to Althea. Serena, we're going to get to you. Calm down. So we did Clue, which is a straight play, 90 minutes. Really it's no intermission. It's one big chunk. You get like a 5-minute break, drink some water, you're back out there. It's based off of the board game and the movie, or the movie's based off both are based off the board game, but the movie might be based off the play, that I can't remember. I was Colonel Mustard. And how I played Colonel Mustard, because he is a bumbling idiot, that is his one characteristic, he is a bumbling buffoon, is I came into the audition and I said to Mr. O'Donnell, can I do an accent? Now, those who know me know, I'm going to do an accent if you give me the opportunity.
100%.
And I walked into the audition, and we read the first scene together, me and Jaden, who got to be our Wadsworth, very good Wadsworth, one of my favorite roles he's ever played. And I walk in, and I read my paper, and I go, good evening. I'm sorry, I don't think I'm in the right house. And he responds to me, and he's like, oh, you've been using a pseudonym. I'm like, oh, no, thank you. I took an antihistamine before I came here. So that speaks volumes as to who Colonel Mustard is.
Yeah.
And I think doing Clue my first year really helped me become the actor that I am. Because Clue has a lot of ad-libs. And anyone that has acted with me knows I'm gonna ad-lib.
Very true.
So there was this scene where this is, to this day, my favorite line I have ever improvised. We are explaining, if I remember correctly, this was 4 years ago. Very eventful 4 years ago. If I remember correctly, all of the characters are explaining to a police officer or someone what's going on, and they don't want to bring up that there's a murderer running loose. So there's a chandelier on the floor, and there's the gun, they shot the chandelier down, and there was a chandelier, and they're like, oh, well, we're all just very sad about that there chandelier. And I went, 14-year-old me, in my gruff southern man voice and my dyed ponytail. That was dyed for the play, for context. They dyed it gray because I was an older man. And my suspenders and tie that went down, I think, a little bit lower than my crotch, which is comically long. And I went, I love that chandelier like a brother I did. And that was Clue, and that was my first introduction into high school theater and really, like, coming true to the actor that I am. Then comes sophomore year. Sophomore year, we got more into the musical production, and it was a funny coincidence because I had begged all junior year to do Little Shop of Horrors, and Mr. O'Donnell left, and Althea Sullivan came in as our head director and brought in Serena Navarez, we got to you, as the assistant director. They're really the best duo I think I've ever interacted with, because they will get it done. They will get it done great.
Mm-hmm.
And while you're not really supposed to have two directors in the theater world, it didn't matter because they are one. They are one person in my heart and in my mind because that's how tight-knit they are and that's how tight-knit they made you feel with them. They really are my big sisters. I am so happy to have met them, and I'm so proud to call them my family. But back to the performance. We did Little Shop of Horrors, and there was one character on my mind from the get-go. And in Althea and Serena's minds, there was one person to play that character, and that was Dr. Oren Scrivello, DDS, the dentist. And they brought in our musical director, Mr. Michael Tornick, who had, I believe, 25 plus years of experience on Broadway, which is such a great connection to have.
Definitely.
When you want to be an actor. And I came in and I put on my leather jacket and my sunglasses, reflective mirrored aviator sunglasses, and my things, and they said, "Chris, do what you do best." The funniest part about getting the role of the dentist is that it was at Street Corner Gourmet sophomore year, to bring up Street Corner again. They announced quickly who the roles were. And they went down the list, and I thought I was going to get Mr. Mushnick. I don't know why, but I did. And they landed, and they said, dentist, he knows who he is. Mushnick, that's Jaden. And I went, okay, but who am I? And they went, Chris, I just said, dentist knows who he is. So, of course, I was ecstatic. That was such a fun production. That was such an amazing production to be a part of because it was just so fun. It was so tight-knit.
Yeah.
Our Audrey was Miss Melissa Domenech, and I will have to say, you will never interact with a nicer Audrey, a nicer person that I have to shove around and call a stupid woman and a friggin' scatterbrain. You most likely will not see this because I don't believe either of us are really in contact with her, albeit Instagram. But Melissa, thank you for making hitting you a lot easier. Very reassuring. But being the dentist was so much fun. And our Seymour was Eli Venetian. And that was his first year in St. Edmund. That was Giovanni's first year doing production.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of formed like a trio. And that was like the triangle of doom in theater. Not a very tight-knit triangle because we still had our Davids and our Jadens.
Yeah. And
we all were very tight. And we're like a square, we're like a pentagon, if you will. But David, for those who don't know, I'm sorry, Mr. David Tassi was our Audrey too. Killer voice. That was so much fun. It was just such a star-studded cast. But we did all of that, and it was just so much fun to like be a part of that production. And this was the second year in a row where I had a gun waved in my face.
Very true. You did.
And that was 3 out of the 4 years I had a gun waved in my face. So moving on to our third year, we did Guys and Dolls, and they prefaced it with, and I really don't mean to toot my own horn. However, St. Edmund Prep's Performing Arts program was molded by me in my 4 years there. And it is a very narcissistic statement to say. However, they prefaced the picking of the show with, we decided to go around our cast. We have a lot of strong male talent, and this has 2 very strong male leads. We did Guys and Dolls. And during the audition, I had never heard of Guys and Dolls. I'll be very upfront with it. As I'm reading it, a name stuck out to me. Sky Masterson. His big song is Luck Be a Lady. And would you know it, my song for the spring concert, given to me by Mr. Joseph Gucciardi, was Luck Be a Lady. It was such a weird coincidence. And I will say, it is probably one of the better things to ever happen to me because it gave me range. It improved my range. Because Mr. Gucciardi heard me singing the theater version where I'm in character. I am Sky Masterson and I'm praying and I'm hoping like luck's on my side. And then he went, throw that out the window. you're suave here. Take command. This is your song. You have luck by the back of the head. Or back of the hair, rather. And I was like, okay, Mr. G. And it was so weird because every day now I was coming in and singing Luck Be a Lady 2 different ways. And then I had to discern it in my head when I was rehearsing. And you'd think it'd get mundane and tedious rehearsing the same song twice.
Yeah.
But it wasn't really the same song. It was 2 different songs. And that's such a cool thing to experience. Where, okay, I'm Sky Masterson. Okay, now I'm Chris.
Right.
Junior year is when I also started to MC our concerts. So that really took hold of everything. And this is where I began to become the face of the stage, per se. The performing arts program, all in all, Mr. Gucciardi, Althea Serena, Mr. Tornick, Mr. Tamilkin, who was our musical director senior year, we'll get to him. It really would not have been possible without them. Being the person that I am, being the actor that I am, and the performer that I am, is all thanks to that big 3 of Mr. G, Serena, and Althea. There really has been no better outlet to be myself on a stage where I'm going to go on a brief Gucciardi tangent. I'm going to pause the theater for a bit.
Go on.
I came into the freshman, and I was in the vocal repertoire ensemble, I was in the liturgical choir, I was in the big band, I was in everything and anything Mr. G said to sing at. Classes I wasn't in, classes I didn't want to be in, classes I wanted to not be in half the time. But there was one thing. I came in freshman year, you had to audition to do vocal rep. And it was supposed to be a Zoom audition because it was COVID, really. It was summer of 8th grade.
Mm-hmm.
And the Zoom link didn't work. So I was panicking, like, oh, what's going on? What am I going to do? And my house phone, my landline, gets a ring. And I pick up. And I went, hello? Hey, it's Mr. Gucciardi here from St. Edmund Prep. Is this Chris? Chris Kouros. How are you, man? That's the only time in 4 years he has ever called me Chris Kouros to my face.
Probably.
That is the only time. And he said, all right, man, sing me your songs. Auditionize me. And already I had fallen in love with the band program because no other person would ever say auditionize me. So I went and I sang Fly Me to the Moon, the Frank Sinatra song. And I did this whole jazzy voice. And this is how you know Mr. Gucciardi saw right through my BS. Because I went, fly me to the moon. And he said, can you do that again as you? And I went, what do you mean? That is me. And he went, no, it's not. You don't talk like this. And I went, oh, okay, you're right. And I sang. And then came week 1 of classes. I walk in and he goes, is Chris Cheerios here? Cheerios? Churros, you here, man? And I was like, Churros? He's like, nah, you churros now. And that's where I stayed for 4 years. More than it. Mr. Edward Quack, he named Quacker, still calls me Churros. I believe most of my friends still call me Churros, if not my last name. Or other things. Shout out P.S. we'll beat that out.
We will.
Pligums in the house. Okay, back to it.
That's being cut. That's being cut. Okay, recollect.
Okay, recollect. Okay. Sorry about that brief intermission. Back to Mr. Gucciardi. I walk in and I went, yeah, you churros. And he gave me the song Time to Say Goodbye by Andrea Bocelli. I was 14 years old. I was a freshman. I was just coming into a big band program, like a huge professional level band program. Really, that's how Gucciardi treated it. And his credentials show he toured on Broadway. He's done so much in the music world. He's astounding. And he said, I'm going to break you out of your shell right here, right now. The winter concert is in December. Usually all my freshmen perform at the spring concert. You're in a mixed grade class. Get to learn in it. And I learned all of that opera song, and horrified, months before anyone else in my grade performed, I went up with Melissa and sang Time to Say Goodbye. I sang Baby It's Cold Outside, I sang Time to Say Goodbye, and I sang a bunch of other stuff with the local repertoire ensemble. Then came the spring concert. Gucciardi came to me and he said, man, I know you now. I'm giving you this song. This is your song now and forever. And he gave me the song Just a Gigolo by Louis Prima. And my friends know that I think arguably that is one of the greatest performances I have ever done. At age 15 now.
Yeah.
It was such a great thing to do, where I cannot hear that song without thinking of Mr. Gucciardi and myself. And I don't think anyone else that knows me can hear that song without letting me know it's on, letting me know how much better I sang it, which, if we're really trying to inflate my head here, it's going to explode. But back to theater, just a quick shout out to Mr. G. I could go on and on about every song I've ever sang for him, even the unsavory ones.
Right.
But he really broke me out of that show. He expanded everything. So, junior year, we did Luck Be Lady. I was Guys and Dolls Sky Masterson. And this is when I started to break Giovanni out of his mold, I'd like to say, because he worked curtains sophomore year. You know, you gotta show him second. You guys can't see it.
We can't see it.
That's a bit of an inside joke.
We're doing. That's being
opening the curtains.
cut. Okay.
And, and I told him, you know, why not do it? Let's get into it. And then together, we convinced our friend Chris to do it too. And it was just so great getting them. Sorry for the brief pause. I found out some hockey information. I'm not going to break that here. It has to do with our photographer for the team. But, sorry, where was I?
You were talking about breaking me out of my shell, and then you're talking about Chris.
We got Chris in it, and everything, and it's a musical, and we worked so hard. And I'd like to say now, moving into senior year, we did Beetlejuice. We were supposed to do Sweeney Todd, because I would know. I was in summer school, unfortunately, and Miss Serena Navarez, I walked into her office every day after summer school because she had to work, and I saw on her desk a big book labeled Sweeney Todd, and I was geeking out. I was like, Sweeney Todd. And then she said, a week into school, can't do it. I went, what? She went, principal said no, and our musical director said no. And they said some things that I'm not going to repeat for the privacy of the cast and the privacy of the musical director. It was just, we couldn't do it. But the show they did, I think, was the best show we ever put on in St. Edmund Prep. They sat down, and I sat down with Miss Althea Sullivan, and she went, we know the show. And I went, okay, I'm going to guess it. And she went, please don't. I'm not good at this. And Giovanni was there, within 3 guesses I had it?
Yeah.
We were doing Beetlejuice. And of course, I think the second they said Beetlejuice, there was no doubt in anyone's mind who Mr. Juice was. So I prepared my voice, where we walked into auditions, and, anything could have happened. But we walked into auditions, and they went, Chris, take the mic. And so there I am. And they played the karaoke track for Say My Name. And here I go, and I slip into the voice, which I have to bring him out now. And I slip into the voice, right? So I'm talking like this the whole time. And you'd think it hurt, but it doesn't hurt. You know why? Because he's me. I'm me. I'm the juice, man. It's good to be back. It's good to be out of here. Interview me, baby boy. Mwah. Anywho.
Anywho.
Putting putting Mr. Juice away in the compartment in my head. I'm not schizophrenic. Putting him away. No.
Continue.
That was such a fun production because Beetlejuice, as a character, is the epitome of all 4 characters I played. Besides maybe Sky Masters. I wouldn't really include him in that bundle.
Okay.
He's sadistic like the dentist. He's an idiot. He ad-libs. But he's incredibly smart like Sky Masterson. And I was able to work all of that, all of me, into playing him. And I wore my suit, and I had such these ideas for this character. Now, as for the hair and the makeup, I did my own hair and makeup. Well, my friends did my hair, because I really couldn't get it. We took white spray dye, and we took green spray dye, and I looked like a bloated zebra corpse, and it was such a beautiful thing to see. And I had the white face paint. I was like mossy and disgusting. And for the first scene, I don't want to toot my own horn, but I believe it was my idea. They said, how do you want to start this? They wanted me to walk out of the crowd of mourners. And I said, well, it's a funeral. There's going to be a coffin. I'm going in the coffin. And next thing I knew, there was a full-scale coffin built. Thank you. Shout out to Mr. Thomas Tadasor, Mr. Navarez's fiance. Shout out, Tom. Love you, Tom. Had built a full 1-to-1 production scale of my coffin. So now in St. Evan Prep, there is my dead body from Little Shop and my coffin. You can have a CHRIS KOUROS funeral, guys. I give you my consent.
Okay.
As long as I get to show up. But I pop out of the coffin and I say my opening line. It goes, a ballad already? And such a bold departure from the original source material. And it was just such a fun production because I got to go and I got to break the fourth wall and I got to be myself. And they said, we're not going to do an intermission announcement. Chris, just pop your head out and talk to them.
Mm.
So I went out there, and here's the funniest little anecdote. Of all 4 of my shows, this is the one. You know, Beetlejuice, known for being the most respectful of Christian values, Jesus passed the Dramamine, was the one that my grandmother brought her friend, Father Kevin Moley, priest at Our Lady of Perpetual Help Basilica, to see. And he loved it. He thought it was so funny because I went in and I had all these plans for the audience. There was a scene where I had to run across the entire school, and I ran across the entire school because we had to perform during a school day once for elementary school students. And I'm running in the hallway in full Beetlejuice regalia, and I run past a class being taught by the principal. And she's teaching, and all of a sudden I hear, oh, hello, Beetlejuice. Oh, bye, Beetlejuice. And, you know, it's every high school student's dream to run around their school in bright green hair and face paint and everything else. Totally. And we'll get to another Beetlejuice anecdote that I'm sure Giovanni remembers fondly. Oh, I see the light fading from my eyes, so you know you remember it very clearly.
I'm prepared.
So I had to run across for the song Invisible, and I run across, and I come out, and I start pulling my friends from the audience to dance, and I dip them, and I spin, and it was just such a great thing. Now, that was such a great show. Last anecdote about that show. Christopher Goldman, our friend, Giovanni, and I, we all took the same bus to go home. After rehearsal, I didn't have time to shower the green out of my hair or the face paint. All I could do was take off my costume. So here I am, walking down the avenue, looking like Jared Leto's Joker. Really Heath Ledger's Joker, I'd like to say. I'll flatter myself a little bit. Because I had the dark circles. I was Heath Ledger's Joker.
You had the hair?
Yes, I had the hair too. And I'm in my purple t-shirt or my Rangers jersey. Shout out Philip Heedlejuice. I miss you. So I'm walking, and I'm getting stares, and we get on the bus, and the bus breaks down. So here I am, I'm sitting, and I'm losing my mind because everyone on the bus is looking at me.
True story.
Everyone is looking at me. My hair is bright green. My lips are red because of whatever I was eating. I think I was drinking I was drinking
Some drink.
Yeah, I had a red Gatorade too because that was the only drink available in the school vending machine. I had a red Gatorade.
Yeah.
So I looked like a clown. And here I am sitting, and I was just like, I turned to my friends, and in the voice, I went, I'm ordering an Uber. Or I'm going to go lay down on the avenue.
Yeah.
I haven't decided yet. And they're all looking at me. And I learned my lesson. Because for the cast party, we went to Roll and Roaster. And I did not change. I stayed in costume. And there are some funny photos of me with my sandwich in costume, laying there like a dead body.
Yeah.
And theater in high school was such a fun, amazing thing to be a part of. And I am so happy for the friendships I have made there and the friendships that I strengthened there. Such a good experience. And I can't wait to see what they do next because my little cousin goes to St. Edmunds now and is doing the theater program.
Okay. All right. So I think we're just about at time. So thank you so much, Chris, for conducting.
That's about it.
That's about it. Thank you for conducting such a wonderful interview. And yeah, I can't wait to see where you go next.
I'd also like to see that, yeah.